Hello, Wazoo Nation. I have to tell you right now, I am so darn excited right now. I hope you enjoyed the last episode. It was straight from the heart, and I hope you will enjoy more episodes to come. So, obviously, my little tagline in the beginning said drugs, rock and roll, and survival in the city of Chicago. So, I did not mention the one big thing is what we talk about quite a bit is old time Chicago politics. And who better than the judge, Judge Gloria Chevere, one of my dear friends. I'm trying to tell you right now. Anyhow, she will tell you stories about her growing up, what was her inspiration to become a lawyer, a judge, and later very influential in Chicago politics as a Puerto Rican woman, which was quite amazing at that time, by the way. So, anyhow, I want you guys to enjoy yourselves. Her stories are out of this world, and I'm pretty sure that you guys wanted to come back for more stories. I wouldn't be surprised. But enjoy, Wazoo Nation. Enjoy. Welcome to Bedtime Stories with the Wazoo again.
Thank you for inviting me.
But let me tell you right now, as I said, I will have special guests on this, so forget about it. There's so few times I shut my motherfucking mouth, but here I will. Here's the judge, and I will let her talk from this point on. Forget about it.
Well, thank you very much. Okay, so for all the Wazoo's fans out there, my name is Judge Gloria Chevere, retired from the Circuit Court of Cook County, where I spent 12 years in the two terms. Each term was 6 years in the criminal division. And that's quite an accomplishment from a little girl that was a little Puerto Rican, that was born in East Chicago, Indiana. So I was born in East Chicago, Indiana in September of 1952.
Go.
At the ripe old age of 6 months, I was sent to go live with my maternal, and that's important, maternal grandparents in Caguas, Puerto Rico. When my father found out that I had been born and that I had been sent to live with my maternal grandparents in Caguas, Puerto Rico, he asked the USO or the Catholic Charities, I forget which one, for leave to get his little girl, his little daughter, settled into life in Puerto Rico. So he went to that little town, picked me up, took me to his parents in Hajuja, Puerto Rico, and said, "This is my baby. Please take care of her. As soon as I get back from Korea, I will be taking full and complete responsibility for her. I'll see you soon." So that's how I ended up in Puerto Rico. When I was 5 years of age, my father had already been working at in the steel mills in East Chicago, Indiana, and where I was born. And because the minute he got off that plane from Korea, they were recruited. A lot of these Puerto Rican men were recruited the minute they got back from the war in Korea to go work in all of the factories and industries stateside.
I'm sorry,
So,
Judge. I know you mentioned 5 years old, your father.
yeah.
So Mom, what's going on with that?
I did not see my mother again until I was 17 years old.
What? Why?
She showed up at my high school graduation.
So, if I could ask at the very beginning, what happened?
There was a lot of animosity between the two parents. Puerto Ricans are known to carry their feuds and vendettas to the grave.
Breaking news.
And so these two families had a vicious falling out, and there was no visitation allowed. My father got custody of me in the Puerto Rican courts, by the way.
But can I ask you, what was the basis that
my mother did fight for custody of me in the Puerto Rican courts. But interestingly enough, the courts in Puerto Rico do not abide by the common law of England, like here. The courts in Puerto Rico abide by the civil law of Spain, which is very different. And the civil law of Spain
I
says
know that.
kids belong to their fathers. So
Wow.
when my father fought for custody of me in Puerto Rico under the civil laws of Spain, my father won. And so my father won that court case. I was about a year old at the time. And my mother and her family said, okay, to hell with it. That's done.
Was there
Goodbye.
any-
And I didn't meet my mother again until I was 17 years old.
Was there any brothers, sisters involved here, or what was the deal?
I have siblings, but they're on my father's side that
After
came
the fact?
years later. Yeah.
All right.
So yeah. So anyway, I end up in Puerto Rico until I was 5. My father worked for Standard Forging, a steel mill in East Chicago, Indiana, and my father realized the advantages of raising a child stateside, and told my paternal grandparents, his parents, I want my daughter educated in the United States of America stateside. I want her educated in English. And so he sent for me, my paternal grandmother, my paternal grandfather, and his siblings that were still living at home, my aunts and uncles. He sent for all of us to come and live in Chicago so that I could be educated in the English language. And we all ended up in the St. Michael's neighborhood in Old Town, what is now known as Lincoln Park.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, I call it Twin Acres, baby.
I love Twin Acres. No dancing allowed. I love Twin Acres. So I ended up going to St. Michael's grade school, St. Michael's high school. I ended up going to Northeastern Illinois University. I ended up at UIC John Marshall Law School,
So
where I
it's like this.
specialized in election law.
So what made you decide to go to law school, out of curiosity?
I decided to go to law school because as I was growing up, I saw all this discrimination and redlining and people being dumped on because they spoke English with a heavy accent. They were being taken advantage of in factories and the hospitality industry and all of this. And the redlining that was going on with mortgage lending, the redlining that was going on with the insurance industry. I saw my family being discriminated against all over the place. I saw them being laughed at because of their Puerto Rican accent. And I told myself, one of these days, when I grow up, I'm gonna try to do something about this.
You did. Forget about it.
And it wasn't in college or high school that I decided to do something about it. It was in grade school.
Wow.
It was in grade
What
school.
grade?
7th or 8th grade.
Holy cow.
At St. Michael's. We lived on Mohawk Street. 1937 North Mohawk.
Oh, holy shit.
I went door to door selling world's finest chocolate bars to support St. Michael's School. And we were knocking on
Those
doors,
bars suck, by the way.
knocking on doors, trying to sell those chocolate bars. And some lady opened up the door at, one of the doors I knocked on. And I said, I'm selling world's chocolate's finest bars for St. Michael's grade school. And they're 25 cents a bar or whatever it was. And the lady goes, I'll buy a whole $2 worth.
Whoa.
I said, $2? Oh my gosh.
Let's figure it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
The little, 12-year-old me goes,
Damn.
Lady, you must be rich. What? You got a rich husband? And that lady says, no, I'm a lawyer.
Holy cow. Forget about it.
I knew then. I wanted to be like that woman. I wanted to be a lawyer.
You wanted 8 bars. Forget about it.
I wanted to be a lawyer like that woman.
That's awesome.
She lived in the building right across the alley from Hollerbach Funeral Home on Mohawk and Armitage. And I said, I want to be like this lady right here. She doesn't even need a man to spend that kind of money. Her response was, she didn't say what her husband did for a living. She said what she did for a living.
He was buried. He was
and that was it.
He was at the funeral home across the street.
That was it.
See,
Yeah.
my goodness, there's a reason for every rising.
Yeah. So then I knew then that I wanted to be a lawyer, and I ended up graduating from Northeastern, going on to UIC John Marshall Law School. I went to law school. I did very well. And in 1983, I graduated in 81. In 81. I've been a lawyer for almost 45 years. I graduated in 81, and I went to go work for a little personal injury law firm. And in 83, Harold Washington ran for mayor.
Wow.
And his nominating petitions were challenged by the Cook County Regular Democratic Organization. They said, your signatures aren't good enough, they're fraudulent, they're this, they're that, and the other thing. And I was recruited by a team of election lawyers. I knew nothing about election lawyer, but I was recruited by a team of election lawyers to help out defend those signatures on his nominating petitions. And the rest is history.
Here I come to save the day.
I became
like Mighty Mouse. That's incredible.
I became an election lawyer, and I went on to represent candidates running for aldermen, state reps, state senators, Congress, Cook County commissioners, Cook County committeemen, you name it, I represented candidates for public office. The overwhelming majority of them were Hispanics, and all of them were independent or independent Democrats.
Wow.
And I got to make I developed a lot of really important political relationships with all of these individuals. So when I decided to run for judge, I had a lot of political support.
I'm sure you did. Forget about it.
Yeah.
My God, you don't have to talk about Chicago politics.
But I really devoted myself, even before then and after them, to specifically Puerto Rican political empowerment and political economic issues. And I'm very proud of the fact that there are 1,000 judges in the state of Illinois. About 400 of them come from Cook County. I have helped elect at least 50 to 60 of them.
Wow.
And the overwhelming majority of them are Hispanics.
Now,
so very happy with what
So they should be very thankful because obviously you came through a journey, basically climbing a mountain. And I guess can you give me any like facts or stuff like that, or situations where you came across that you were actually discriminated as a Puerto Rican in the very beginning to try to become in the Chicago politics?
Well, I mean, you're always going to find discrimination, not just based on ethnicity. I mean, obviously, you can look at me. I'm light skinned, so I'm
look Spaniard.
Yeah, I'm white, but so I didn't face the kind of discrimination that other Puerto Ricans have faced, only because of my light skin. But I did face discrimination in the profession, especially in not just all the political work that I did in my political career, but in my legal career. And I will never forget it. This is one name that I will mention from now until kingdom come. I remember going into a courtroom. I believe it was the probate division. The judge's name, I'll never forget, was Reginald Holzer, because he ended up in prison, Operation Greylord. And I remember I showed up there on behalf of another lawyer.
For the people that don't understand what Operation Greylord was actually, what was it? What was Operation Greylord?
Operation Greylord had to deal with the wholesale buying and selling of verdicts of innocence, verdicts in personal injury trial, verdicts in domestic relations trials, divorce cases, and everything else.
So who's involved?
Judges were on the payroll, clerks were on the payroll, sheriff's deputies were on the payroll. Everybody was on the payroll. Everybody was getting a bribe, and you could basically buy a verdict. You could buy a verdict, okay? And I remember once being in this judge's courtroom, and I only went in there to ask for a continuance on a case. I was working for this was very, very early on in my career, before I went to go work for Harold Washington, after he got elected in 83. And I went there to just get a continuance on the case on behalf of my boss on a workers, it wasn't a workers' comp case, it was a personal injury case. And I said, good morning, Judge. My name is Gloria Chevere. I'm here on behalf of attorney so-and-so, and we just need a continuance in this case. And he just looked at me, and he goes, "Are you a lawyer?" And I go, "Yes, Judge. Yes." And what kind of last name is Chevere?
I was actually going to ask you the
what
question.
What kind of last name is Chevere?
French? Sounds French to me,
is
not
that
Puerto Rican.
French or what? I said, no, Judge. I'm Puerto Rican. And then he asked me, I will never fucking forget this. You're Puerto Rican and you're a woman. How did you get to become a lawyer?
Wow.
I kid you not. That's why I will not
You want-
hesitate
you
in
want that
mentioning
case-
that judge's name, Reginald Holzer. And so
Wow.
I said, yes, Judge, I'm a woman, I'm Puerto Rican,
Jeez.
and I became a judge just like you. I went to law school and I passed the bar exam. That's it.
Forget about it, Judge.
Yeah. And so I got the continuance and I went on my merry way. That was the one and only time that I ever felt the kind of deep, seated discrimination ever in a court of law. Because after that, I just never felt that. I was respected everywhere I went.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you. I mean, obviously, when we're growing in the city, stuff like that, Chicago politics was always white for years.
Lily white.
Daily, all like that. It was always has been, and always will be.
Until
And the deal is,
Harold Washington was elected
Yes.
mayor, and then we took our rightful place at the table. And I want to make a distinction. I think I can do this here in your podcast. I want to make a distinction between our rightful place at the table with a judge, a genuinely, progressive judge like Harold Washington, not the fakes that we have out there
Right.
today, like Harold Washington, and a whole lot of people that pretend to be progressives and socialists and left wing and everything else. With Harold Washington, here's the deal. When you were appointed to a cabinet position like I was, when you were appointed to a cabinet position, you got the title, you got the salary, and you got the clout car, the unplated car, right? And you got the power that came with that position. You were not window dressing. You were not a DEI. You were not a token. When you got the job, the mayor himself told you, I'm going to give you the title, the salary, the car, the power, and everything goes with it. I don't want a yes man. I don't want a yes woman. I don't want a no man. I don't want to know.
there's no IT.
I'm gonna give you the power that comes with the job. You sink or swim on your own.
Right.
Okay? If you do well, you will continue in your position or advance in my administration. If you do poorly, I will be the first one to tell you that I was disappointed and I'm sorry and you're
We
gone.
gotta go.
But the thing is, he respected us.
Right.
He respected us. After that, a lot of women, a lot of Hispanics, a lot of Asians, a lot of I can't say we because that didn't happen with us. They were given titles and salaries and fancy cars and this and that and the other thing. You know who was in charge? The number 2 or the number 3 person in that department, and they were all white.
So forget about it. Let's be very careful. So actually, what position did you have under Harold Washington? Were you the number 2, 3, 4?
No, Deputy Commissioner in the Department of
So-
Planning and
so-
Urban
so, I
Development,
mean-
and I was the number 2, and I was the number 2 person. But as the number 2 person, Liz Hollander was the number 1 person. She was the commissioner. As the number 2 person, I was given the responsibility to distribute hundreds of millions of dollars in federal money. In those
Wow.
days, I'm talking about 1983, 84, 85.
Forget about
Federal
it.
money was falling from the sky. And so I was given hundreds of millions of dollars to spend on economic development grants, neighborhood facade improvement grants, sidewalks, neighborhood businesses were given permits and money for new plate glass, new doors, alarm systems, floors, building their businesses up to building codes, and we had the ability to make all of that
If I can
happen
ask
for
you,
them.
for other, what you were doing, you were talking about millions of dollars.
Hundreds of millions of dollars
All right, what was
to
the-
delegate agencies
Was there-
and businesses.
Was there a couple things that, I guess, programs or donations that you guys did that you were most proud of? You
Yes.
remember?
Yes. And a lot of, up until the Washington administration, federal money was focused on developing downtown. Okay, downtown and the airports.
It was shit
So
back then.
when Harold Washington came in the office and said, okay, they got theirs, now we're going to get ours. And all that federal money was distributed into neighborhoods. Neighborhood development, businesses, social service agencies, senior citizens programs, breakfast programs for kids, you name it. And interestingly enough, in case this is an interesting thing, since I'm Hispanic, right? I was
No?
sent. I was sent.
Really?
Yeah.
I would never know that.
I was sent. I was sent into the commercial strip down 26th Street, right?
Oh my God!
Little
Forget
Village.
about it.
Little Village. And in those, it was the early days of the development of Little Village
Right.
and the Mexican community in terms of
There were shacks out
economic
there back
power
then,
and
right?
everything else. So, my minions and I, we went down 26th Street. We asked all these business owners, would you like help in the facade of your building? Would you like new plate glass windows?
Wow.
Would you like to buy the property behind you for parking for your customers? Would you like us to help you set up an alarm system, the circuit closed TV, whatever? Oh my God, they were all so happy. They all told us what they wanted. They all signed on the dotted line. And a shock to us, we took all these applications, right? We turned them all into the feds, right? And the feds came back saying, yeah, we don't think so. The only people that are making more money than these guys are on Michigan Avenue. That's how successful and how impactful 26th Street and the Little Village businesses were at that time. They were an economic engine before we knew it was an economic engine.
We ain't going to talk about the dye bags. But anyway, the deals. Why would they have you go there in the first place?
For stereotypical reasons. They said, go to the Mexican neighborhood and see if they need some money.
Just to say no. It doesn't make any sense. Why would they do that?
We didn't know. We didn't know that they were the second most powerful business district in Chicago.
Wazoo.
All right. I'm going to ask you like that. Obviously,
The cartels. Come on.
we're talking about Harold Washington right now. Forget about it. So now I'm going to tell you right now, when I was growing up myself in the neighborhood, obviously in Chicago, everything was white. I mean, give me a break. It was Harold Washington was a huge. I mean, come on, forget about it. Think about it.
Huge.
My God, the deal was all. And I remember Verdoliak was the 46.
29.
29, whatever, Verdoliak for 29. And that's why nothing got done in the city of Chicago during that time. But my God, it was clashing, could not get along.
Yeah.
So, what was it like, if I could ask,
Yeah.
to actually work for Harold Washington? I mean, was it really, I mean, obviously, you said that you're inspired, but actually work for him, besides him telling you to do your job, like Tom Thibodeau with the Bulls
We
back in the
felt
days.
powerful. We felt powerful. We weren't token Hispanics, token women, token anything. We felt powerful.
Wow.
And we were able to make decisions. Those decisions were backed up. Whenever we made a decision that had they were not like unfunded mandates. Whenever we made a decision that involved the expenditure of money, that was put in the budget. They fought for it. I mean, we just felt really powerful, and we felt like we made an impact, and we felt like we were important, and we were in his administration.
Must have been very exciting.
No.
He was.
And I'm going to tell you,
The change.
that's understood, but now that's you working with him like that.
Yeah.
But if you were to say, what was the most impactful thing he did in his administration for the city of Chicago? Now, I understand, forget about it. He was limited because...
Well, he had the Verdoliak 29.
Right, it was like, which is pathetic, boom, 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 and nothing gets accomplished. But if not, what was his thing that he was most known for? But I guess what would you think that he tried to get accomplished that should have been able to get accomplished if it wasn't for that?
I can't answer that question. I may be biased or blindsided by all the successes because we were never told no, and we were never told it can't happen that way. So I can't answer that question. Everything that we wanted, we achieved everything. Do I think there was a lot of unfinished business?
Yeah.
Yes. It wasn't until later that we got a congressional district. It wasn't until.
So what does that mean?
Well, it wasn't until the deal that was made with Daley that we got the 4th congressional district and we got Luis Gutierrez elected to Congress. But it wasn't until after Harold Washington. Well, the thing is though that to tell the truth, Harold Washington set the tone for that, right? I mean, he set the foundation for that. After the '87 election, when he got the overwhelming majority of votes in the Hispanic community.
You want Harold?
It was it was a foregone conclusion
Right.
that when redistricting came around in 1990, that we were going to get our own congressional district. Because up until then, Dan Rostenkowski represented the Puerto Rican community in Chicago. And it was only after the 1990 census, which Harold laid the foundation for, that we ended up with the 4th congressional district and the election of Louis Gutierrez to Congress. So that may have been a little bit of unfinished business, but it was. We made sure that we saw that vision to fruition.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask you: are you like friends of any like Supreme Court judges right now?
Well, I'm not. I can't say I'm friends with one, but I know one, and she signed her book for me, Sonia Sotomayor, which was appointed by Barack Obama. Yeah.
Forget about it.
Yeah.
So Sonia
from
Wazoo doesn't pay attention to the news.
A Puerto Rican Supreme Court justice.
Let
That's who she is. That went to Princeton. That's who she is.
She's our liberal.
Yeah. So I mean,
So how do you know her?
Well, she was gracious enough to accept the invitation of the Illinois Latino Judges Association, because we're so big and powerful now. The Illinois Latino Judges Association to accept an invitation to come and talk to us and just mingle with us and sign her books for us and everything. And she was really something. But if you want to talk about her, you may want to talk about national politics. We may want to talk about our representation in Washington, D.C., our lack of representation in Washington from the island of Puerto Rico.
That'll be another episode.
Colonialism.
That'll be another episode.
Colonialism. The fact that Puerto Ricans are United States citizens, and yet we don't have a single congressman or a single senator in the U.S. Senate. And even though we participate in the Democratic and Republican national conventions, right? We don't have the right to vote for president. We're second-class citizens. Let me know when you want to talk about that.
I will. So I'm gonna tell you now what.
No, too.
I was like, forget about it. Am I gonna the judge? Oh, it'll be continuous on. It'll be more episodes with her, and she's the best, as I said. And I'm learning stuff myself about her, which I'm not surprised. And forget about it.
All right. Thank you, Wazoo.
No, you're the best judge. Baby steps, Wazoo.
Thank you.
That was great.
The next session I wanted to be about national politics and the colonial status of Puerto Rico.